How much time do you think the average adult spends in front of a screen? Would you guess 3, 4, maybe 5 hours? Well, according to a 2012 study published in Ophthalmic and Physiological Optics, that average is actually 8.5 hours. And that study was published 13 years ago. Screens have only proliferated since. What's your relationship to screen time? You ever find yourself glued to your phone, even though you know you have more important things to do? If that's the case, then listen up, because as I will demonstrate, excessive screen time is a serious problem with far-ranging consequences. In today's presentation, I'd like to provide a wake-up call about this problem, and perhaps offer a solution. So pay attention, because this is important. In doing my research for this presentation, I was looking for some studies that discussed the negative consequences of excessive screen time. What I found was shocking beyond my imagination. I got so many results that if I were to discuss all of them, this presentation would be hours long. Instead, I'd like to provide you a sample based on 2 rigorous and influential studies published in peer-reviewed journals. We'll begin with a 2018 study published in Environmental Research. It linked excessive screen time to, are you ready? Poor sleep, obesity, high blood pressure, poor stress regulation, insulin resistance, impaired vision, reduced bone density, depressive and suicidal symptoms, ADHD-like symptoms, antisocial behavior, decreased coping skills, and changes in reward pathways that resemble substance addiction. That's pretty bad. But if that wasn't enough, how about this next one? We have a 2022 study from the Journal of Integrative Neuroscience. It found effects similar to people with early dementia, including impaired concentration, orientation, acquisition of recent memories, also known as anterograde amnesia, and impaired self-care. They predict that excessive screen use during the formative years of Gen Z will result in substantially increased risks of early onset dementia for this generation. Clearly, excessive screen use is a serious problem. Now you know about this problem, what can you do about it? The solution is quite simple, and it's to limit your screen time. Some of you might object and say, that's much easier said than done, and I would agree. However, there are things you can do that will increase your chances of success. One option is to download a screen time limiter and install it on your devices. I've had a lot of success using an app called ScreenZen. It's available for free in the App Store, and this is how it works. Let's say, for example, I go on my iPad and I try to open up Netflix. I get this annoying message asking me if it's important. Now, the answer to that question is probably no. However, if I decide to open the app anyway, I can hit unlock, and then I have to suffer through a 5-second delay. Those 5 seconds are usually just enough time for my self-control to kick in and for me to decide that I shouldn't be watching Netflix right now anyway. However, if that doesn't happen, and I use the app for more than 3 hours, or I open it more than 3 times in a 24-hour period, that app will be blocked for 24 hours. Other methods of limiting your screen time could include things as simple as leaving your phone in another room while you're doing something important. As you can see, there are multiple ways you can limit your screen time. And if you do so, you will see positive results. What kind of results? Well, imagine better health, both mentally and physically. Imagine having a sharp mind with clear, laser-like focus that doesn't get distracted as easily. Imagine having less internal resistance when you sit down to do something important. Or imagine spending more time with friends and loved ones away from screens. Now that you've imagined it, you can use that visualization as a motivation to take action. What you should do is you should discuss the negative effects of excessive screen use with your friends and find ways to limit your own exposure. Don't delay, act right now. Go to the App Store and download a screen time limiter like ScreenZen and install it on your devices. If you do so, then perhaps you won't be a part of this sad statistic that I quoted in the beginning. You won't spend over a third of your life in front of a screen.